Hi and welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. Grab a couple of yoga blocks, a strap and a blanket, and let's begin in a comfortable seat with your legs out in front of you. So as you are turning out the thighs, which we'll be doing quite a bit in today's physical practice, which is called external rotation of the thighs at the hip sockets, if you find that your back starts to round or your knees are lifting away from the floor higher than your hips, go ahead and fold your blanket and make it as thick as you need so that you can sit towards the front edge of it and allow your knees to drop lower than your hips. And then take a moment to even out your weight through both the left and right sides of your sitting bones. Lift up to the center of your spine, relax your shoulders down, and let your hands rest on your lap. I'd like to share a few lines from one of my favorite books called The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself by Michael A. Singer. Last week's classes, we were focusing on watching our thoughts and really understanding how they influence the way we feel emotionally and the vibration that we emit. So here is riding that wave of thought watching. Michael Singer says, the only way to inner freedom is through the one who watches, the self. Stop defining the disturbed mind. Those are times when you might feel anxiety or stress or worry or fear, any kind of mental disturbances. Stop defining the disturbed mind as a negative experience. Just see if you can relax behind it. When your mind is disturbed, don't ask, what do I do about this? Instead, ask, who am I that notices this? Your only way out is the witness. Just keep letting go by being aware that you are aware. If you pass through a period of darkness or depression, just ask, who is aware of the darkness? That's how you pass through the different stages of your inner growth. You just keep letting go and remain aware that you are still here. When you've let go of the dark psyche and you've let go of the light psyche, and you're no longer clinging to anything, you will reach a point where it will all open up behind you. You are used to being aware of things in front of you. You now become aware of a universe behind your seat of consciousness. There is no need for false solidity when you are at peace with a universal expanse of your true being. There is no need for false solidity when you are at peace with a universal expanse of your true being. Take a moment to digest those lines. This is very much the practice of yoga. Remembering that we are the witness of not only what's happening outside of our physical bodies, the world around us, but even the witness of the mind itself. Let's begin to check in, starting with your physical body. A moment to scan whatever sensations you're experiencing throughout your body. Noticing your physical state, let's become more aware of the breath just as it is. Noticing your energetic state. Then bring your awareness to your mind. Notice its activity. Tuning into your mental and emotional state. And so acknowledging what's here right now. I invite you to begin to offer gratitude for anything that you genuinely appreciate. Maybe setting your hands at your heart center. With that, begin to deepen your breath. Allow the breath into your nose. And a few exhales out to your mouth. As you go even slower, be gentle rather than forceful with the breath. Now begin to clarify your bigger picture for today's practice. What is it you would like to focus your mind and energy on cultivating? Perhaps we can be more open-ended and let it be simply a practice of awareness, especially of our minds. One way of practicing letting go of having a particular outcome to your intention is to offer up your efforts. So now I invite you to choose someone that you care about. Maybe it's a group of someone's, a community, or a cause that's important to you. And dedicate today's practice to them. Let's begin to chant 3 ohms, a way to create resonance as we share a practice. So inhale deeply. Beginning to practice Ujjayi Pranayama or victorious breathing. Let's continue to breathe just through the nose if you can. Softly narrow or constrict the back of your throat so that as you're breathing evenly and slowly in and out through the nose, you're creating this gentle, subtle, smooth whispering sound to your breath. Taking your time to really reach the very top of your inhalation and the very bottom of your exhalation, so that when you begin to move your body to this breath rhythm, if you notice the breath at all become choppy or chaotic, you give yourself permission to slow down at a different pace or to back off in however intense you've come into a posture, or to sit down, take a moment to rest, whether it be child's pose or something else. So remember to take care of yourself, really paying attention to your body signals, especially your breathing. Now let's come down onto our hands and knees. We'll bring the inner edges of your big toes to touch. Separate your knees wider apart than your hips distance and drop your pelvis all the way back and down to your heels, resting your forehead on the ground. Extend your arms straight ahead and spread your fingers flat. So as we pause here in child's pose or balasana for about 5 deep breaths, work on actively stretching the sides of your torso. That's from your outer hips, side ribs, outer armpits. Lengthen through the arms so you're not resting the arms on the floor, but you're reaching forward through the fingertips while pulling your hips further back, stretching both ends of your spine. Broaden your shoulder blades here so as you keep your palms face down flat. Spin the outer sides of your upper arms, which are your triceps,
downward so that you're externally rotating your upper arms, spreading the shoulder blades apart. Also, press the shoulder blades back so that you're plugging them onto the back ribs, creating stability in your shoulders as you lengthen the crown of your head forward, stretching your neck. Now keep all those actions in your arms, shoulders, and neck, and separate your feet hips distance apart. Tuck your toes, parallel your feet, and lift your hips back into downward facing dog. Let's pause a few breaths here. So actively stretch your weight throughout your finger pads. Root the base of your thumb and index fingers on the ground. Relax your neck and steady your gaze on one spot. We've got about 3 more breaths. Like we did in child's pose, rotate your outer upper arms towards the ground and lift the shoulder blades onto your back ribs while relaxing your neck. Now add this, press the front tops of your thigh bones back and firm in your belly. Sink your heels deeper and deeper towards the ground. And let's finish one more cycle of breath in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keep the belly engaged, keep the triceps rotating down, and with your neck still long, inhale, glide forward into the top of a push-up plank pose. Stacking your shoulders right above your wrists, gaze on the floor just ahead of your thumbs, and lift the sides of the belly. Firm back to your inner heels, activating the front muscles of your thighs. If you'd like more support, place your knees on the ground right under your hips. One more deep breath in. Now as you exhale, contract your lower belly, lift your sitting bones high, and again, press the front tops of your thigh bones back, sinking the heels down. Let's try that to the breath. Inhale, glide forward into your version of plank pose again, long through the center line of your body. Exhale, lift your tailbone into downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, glide forward to plank. Draw the shoulders back, lengthen the crown and chest forward. Exhale, lift your hips back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's walk up to the top of the mat, come into a standing forward fold. Feet still hips width apart, parallel. Bend your knees a lot and catch hold of opposite elbows with your hands, just draping the torso forward and relaxing your neck. Maybe swaying your spine gently side to side to help loosen it. Maybe nodding and shaking your head as you're lifting your shoulder bones away from your neck. Tune into 3 more slow breaths here. In standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Place your fingertips either on blocks in front of your feet, your shins, or the ground. Press into that and inhale, lengthen your spine parallel to the floor, drawing the shoulders back and engaging your belly. Exhale, bow towards your legs. Again, to the breath, root down through the fingertips. Inhale, raise your heart forward in Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. This time, root down through your feet and inhale, sweep your arms forward and overhead as you rise into Urdhva Hastasana. Add a gentle back bend by coiling your chest up. Then exhale, join your hands in prayer to your heart center in Padasana. Pause a moment to remind yourself of your intention for your practice. And let's flow to the breath in our first series of Surya Namaskar, sun salutation. As you inhale, sweep your arms forward and coil your chest up. Exhale, bow from your hips. Plant your fingertips and inhale, lengthen your spine forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold again. Come down to your feet, inhale, rise, arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands together at your heart. Now we'll take it through a full sun salutation. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Place your fingertips on the ground outside your heels and inhale, step the left knee back into a kneeling lunge, gazing up. Hold your breath and step to plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest, then chin, sticking your tailbone up in Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide all the way to the ground, root the tops of your feet and coil your chest up to Cobra. Exhale, lift your pelvis back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, step your left foot beside your left thumb, lower your right knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead and coil your chest up. Exhale, join your hands together at your heart. One more, second side. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips down. Inhale, step your right knee back. Anjaneyasana with the hands down. Hold your breath as you step to plank. Exhale, Ashtangasana, lower knees, chest, then chin. As you gaze forward, hug the elbows close. Inhale, slither to the floor in Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Exhale, lift your hips back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb. Lower the left knee in Anjaneyasana. Exhale, step your left foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, the arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center, Padasana. Moving on to our next sun salutation series. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Lengthen the spine halfway forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step into your version of plank pose and continue as you exhale to glide forward. Hug the elbows towards your side ribs in Chaturanga Dandasana. Then inhale to Cobra again, or flip the toes here into Upward Facing Dog. Exhale to Downward Facing Dog. Pausing in stillness with a steady gaze for 3 deep breaths. After the end of the third exhale, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat in a forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Padasana. Once more, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank. Some of you might float into Chaturanga if you practice jumping. Keep going, Cobra or Upward Dog. Downward Facing Dog. For 3 breaths, cultivate stillness and awareness. Noticing the activity of your mind. After the third out breath, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Padasana. So we're on to our last sun salutation series, and it starts with chair pose, Utkatasana. Bring the inner edges of your big toes together to touch. Empty this breath. As you inhale, bend your knees together to touch, and maybe try to grace the floor with your fingertips, sinking your hips that low, then raise the arms up and glide your shin bones back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana.
Either step to plank or float to chaturanga. Take it to your vinyasa. At downward facing dog, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, gently step the foot beside your right thumb and spin your left heel down. Inhale, rise to stand in warrior one. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Downward dog. Second side, inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, step the foot lightly beside your left thumb, spin the right heel down. Inhale, rise up to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Again, in Adho Mukha Svanasana, pause for 3 breaths, slowing down and rebalancing your breathing. After the third out breath, walk or lightly jump to the top. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. With feet touching and knees touching, inhale, sit back into Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, rise up, Padasana. Last one, same sequence. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step or float back, continue into your vinyasa. From Adho Mukha Svanasana, inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, step it forward, drop the left heel. Inhale, rise to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale into your vinyasa. Again, from Adho Mukha, inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale the foot beside your left thumb, drop the right heel. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale into your vinyasa. Steadying your gaze, your mind and your breath. 3 cycles of breath. After the third, walk or float to the top. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Padasana. So let's separate your feet wider apart than hips distance. From your hip sockets, turn out both of your thighs, and we're going to prepare to lower the pelvis in a squat. So if you'd like, you can stack a couple of blocks to sit on, or if you feel tightness in your Achilles or calves region, you can take your folded blanket and step your heels onto the edges of the folded blanket to offer ease in your version of Malasana, a squat. Making sure to keep your knees safe, align the center of your kneecaps with the center toe beneath them. Use your arms or elbows to help you splay your inner thighs apart. And as you lower your pelvis, lift up through the back of your skull. Tune into your breath. Again, focusing on lengthening the inhalation to the very top, taking your time. And then slowly emptying to the very bottom. Listening to the balance you're creating in the breath. One more deep breath. Place your fingertips in front of you, parallel your feet, and fold forward, Uttanasana. Take your blocks with you just in case here and frame your outer heels, stepping your left ball of the foot behind. Then walk your right foot another 3 to 5 inches to the right edge of your mat, bringing the right arm to the inside of your right leg as we'll pause in lizard lunge. So lower your left knee now, hug your right knee towards your right outer shoulder. So we're gonna take the version in which we're not splaying open the right thigh. So keep the sole of your right foot entirely on the ground, toes facing forward, and decide how high or low you need to place your hands, whether on blocks or the floor, so that you have open space in your neck and shoulders. Maybe you come down onto your forearms. And we'll be here for about 5 more breaths. And as we stay, continue to draw your sternum forward, lengthening the back of your neck, and gently scissor your right outer hip towards the rear of your mat, while hugging your right knee close to your right outer shoulder. Now come back up high onto your hands and grab a block. Gonna place that block to the inner side of your right leg. Come up high on the ball of the left foot first. Align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot as you spin the left heel down. Left toes are slightly facing the front of your mat. And with your right arm on the left side of your front leg, make sure the front knee and middle toes are facing forward. Make sure the right shoulder is directly over the right wrist. Roll your right outer hip underneath your body. Firm the right glute inward towards you. Press your right arm and your inner right thigh against each other, keeping the right leg still. Root the left outer foot firmly into the ground, really strong through that left straight leg. Engage your lower belly and then raise your left arm as you spin your chest slightly to face the sky. Drop both of your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Continue to stretch the top of your head towards the front wall. Check in with your breathing. So let's move into Utthita Parshvakonasana, which means extended side angle pose. So rotate your left outer upper arm to face your left wall. So that's the external rotation of the upper arm we did in downward dog. Then sweep the left arm overhead towards the front wall. Spinning your chest towards the sky, hugging the right outer hip in towards you. Let's tune into 5 more breaths here. Extended side angle pose. Now place your left hand on your left hip and gaze down ahead of your right foot. Place the block on the right side of the right pinky toe and crawl it about 6 inches forward towards the upper right corner of your right foot. Half moon pose. Drag the left foot forward, flex the left foot off the ground, and turn your chest completely to face your left wall. Backing your shoulders right above your right wrist. Maybe raise your left arm up. As you land your gaze on one focal point, listen to the quality of your breathing. About 4 more breaths. Half moon pose. Sweep the left arm overhead, just like we did an extended side angle. Look down at the front of your mat, and then lower the left hand on your second block and rotate the left outer hip to face the ground in supported warrior three. Tack the crease of your right hip back and keep flexing your left foot. Imagine you're pressing the instep of your left foot against the back wall and stretching your torso straight ahead towards the front wall. Firming in the belly. We're going to continue playing with balance as we enter twisting half moon. So walk the left block to the right a few inches so that it lands 1 foot in front of your right big toe. Keep the left leg engaged. Use the right thumb to hook the right outer hip back. Inhale, stretch through the center line of your body. Keep your 2 hips even in height, and exhale, begin to turn your chest to face the right wall little by little. Maybe raising your right arm towards the sky. And Parita Ardha Chandrasana, twisting half moon pose. Place the right hand down again and step the left foot to meet the right. Forward folds. Bring your hands to your hips and point your elbows towards the sky. Inhale, slowly rise to stand. Yes, we have a second side to this whole sequence, but before we get there, let's take another version of a squat. This time face the wide width of your mat and step your feet wide apart. We're gonna take a wide legged squat. So from your hip sockets, externally rotate both thighs again, making sure that as you bend your knees, you align the center of your knees with a center toe beneath them. Maybe taking a moment to rock side to side as you warm up your groins a bit more. Now slightly lift your frontal hip bones and lengthen your tailbone downward. Maybe use your hands to gently splay the inner thighs apart as you sink your hips lower, lift up through the center of your spine. Extending the arms out to the sides, bend your elbows, turn the palms to face up, often called goddess pose. Maybe bringing the thumb and the first fingers to touch. Steady your gaze for 3 to 4 more breaths. Long inhale. Maybe sink the hips lower as you exhale. Press down to your feet, inhale to rise, and let's step up to the front of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips, roll your shoulders back, breathe in, exhale, forward fold. Take your blocks, place them on the outsides of your heels and step your right foot back, and then scoot your left foot another 3 to 4 inches to the left so you can bring the left arm to the inner side of your left leg. Lower your back knee and let's pause in lizard lunge. So keep your left sole of the foot entirely on the floor in this version, hugging your left knee close to your left outer shoulder. Decide how high or low you need to place your hands and see if you can do the same height that you did on the first side to offer balance. Draw your heart forward and lengthen the back of your neck. Gently scissor your left outer hip towards the rear of your mat. Hugging the left outer hip closer to you. 3 more breaths. Come up high in your hands and take a block. Place it on the inner side of your left leg. Tuck the right toes and then spin the right heel flat with the toes slightly pointing towards the front of your mat. Slide the left foot to the right enough so that the center of your left heel is now intersecting the arch of your right foot. Keep the left knee bent right over the ankle facing forward, and rotate your left outer hip and glute underneath your body. Make sure your left wrist is directly under your left shoulder. Adjust the height of the block so that you can continue to lengthen the left side of your torso here. Raise your right arm up, and as you press your left arm and your inner left thigh against each other, spin your chest slightly to face the sky. And let's bring the extended arm version. Rotate your right tricep to face your right wall and extend your right arm overhead as you draw your two shoulder blades down your back ribs. About 5 more breaths. In Utthita Parsvakonasana, extended side angle pose. Gaze down at your left toes, place your right hand on your right hip, and then walk the left block about 6 inches forward of your left pinky toe out to the left corner. Keep the left foot exactly as it is, but drag your right foot forward and flex it off the ground in half moon pose. Turn your chest to face your right wall so that you're naturally stacking your two shoulders above your left wrist. Maybe raise your right arm. Steadying your gaze, about 5 more breaths here in Ardha Chandrasana. Just like we did in extended side angle pose, raise your right arm overhead, look down in front of your left foot, and place the right hand on your second block at the top of your mat. Rotate your right outer hip to face the floor, entering supported warrior 3. As you press back through the instep of your right flexed foot, grow your spine forward and tack your left outer hip back, lifting through the sides of your belly. A few more breaths in Virabhadrasana 3. Warrior 3. Now keep actively pressing your right instep towards the back wall. Walk the right block about 1 foot in front of your left big toe. Use your left thumb to tack your left outer hip back and breathe in to grow through both ends of your spine. Keep the pelvis still and exhale, begin to twist to your left side. Maybe raising your left arm in Parita Ardha Chandrasana, twisting half moon pose. One more deep breath. Lower the left hand on your block again and step the right foot to meet the left. Forward fold. This time, step back so you're about at least a foot inward from the front edge of your mat. And lift your heels, splay your thighs apart, coming into a different version of a squat. With your hands on blocks or the floor, sink your hips back and walk your hands forward, bowing in like you would in child's pose. Listen to your breath. Now walk your hands closer to you until they're flat on the floor, about a foot in front of your feet. Actually, let's take a moment to create a little stage for your feet. So take your 2 blocks on their lowest height and create a nice wide bench like this. Set it up at the center of your mat. Now, let's recreate the inner edges of the feet touching, the heels lifting, and now place your hands flat on the floor, about 1 foot in front of your toes.
shoulders distance apart. Contracting your belly. Take a deep breath in and lift the belly, lift the hips high, and imagine you're looking at your own reflection at the edge of a pond. So glide forward to see your reflection and then glide back. Try a few times. Inhale, glide forward as much as you can balance, coming onto the tip of your fingers. Maybe you glide forward enough where you start to bend your elbows back like you would in Chaturanga, where the arms are parallel. If so, you can climb your knees high up onto the upper arms near the armpits, using your upper arms like steps, where you shift your weight forward by looking ahead of your mat on the floor. You might catch some hang time, lifting your feet off the ground. If you do, bring your feet together and stay a few breaths if you can in crow pose. And always bring your feet back to the ground, and we'll eventually meet in bound angle pose, sitting on the floor or sitting on your folded blanket. Bringing the soles of your feet together to touch. Heels close to the pelvis. Rooting down to your sitting bones, lift up, lengthen your spine as you breathe in, and keep it long as you're exhaling, little by little, folding forward. Maybe walking your hands forward. And the further forward you bow, keep rooting down to your sitting bones. Check in. Anything interesting surfacing in your consciousness, your awareness? Walk your hands towards you and inhale, slowly lift up. Let's come on down to our backs for our last few back bends. Separating your feet, hips width apart and parallel to each other. Bring your arms close to your sides and have your heels where you can almost touch them with your fingertips, but not quite. For those of you that want to be more actively engaging your glutes and hamstrings, slide your heels another 3 inches forward from there. Now press through the 4 corners of each foot firmly and evenly on the ground. Ground the backs of your shoulders and tilt your chin slightly away from your chest. Now here's a way of coming into bridge pose that really helps to lengthen the lower back and give it support. Keep your pelvis on the floor, but begin to tilt your tailbone upwards towards the space between your knees. As you continue deep breaths, lift from the tailbone, stretching towards the space between your knees. Contracting your glutes and hamstrings, keep your thighs parallel to each other and slightly spin your inner thighs towards the ground without moving your feet. Walk your upper arms closer together under your back ribs. Keep your arms straight, and if your hands meet, you might interlace your fingers. Focus on deep inhalations to fully expand your lungs. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. When you finish a total of 5 to 7 breaths in this posture, take a slow exhalation to carefully lower your spine to the ground. Keep your feet on the floor as they were. Relax the pelvis and pause for 3 breaths. We're going to practice one more bridge pose. When you're ready, keep your pelvis on the ground and start to tilt your tailbone upwards towards the space between your knees before beginning to lift the pelvis. And when you do, lift from the tailbone, reaching towards the space between your knees. Take the rest on your own. Stay for 5 to 10 breaths this time. This is our last back bend.
And this time when you lower your pelvis, separate your feet wider apart than your hips distance. Keep your knees as wide apart as your feet and keep your feet on the ground. Then drop both knees to the right side. Align your left knee to trace the midline of your mat. Notice particularly any sensations around the left side of your pelvis, your lower back. There's not much to notice. You might place your right ankle above your left knee on your left thigh. And you might also raise your arms overhead and catch opposite elbows with your hands, dropping the arms back. Stay here another 5 slow breaths. Begin to exhale longer than you inhale, helping your nervous system to relax more deeply. When you're done, come back through center, stepping your feet on the ground wider apart than hips distance. Separating your knees as wide apart as your feet, relax your arms. Keep your feet on the floor and drop your knees both to the left side. Then align your right knee to point down the midline of your mat. Pause to notice any sensations around the right side of your lower back and the front of your right hip. Stay here or add on by crossing the left ankle above your right knee. And maybe also raising the arms and switching the hold of the elbows on top. 5 breaths. Coming back through center, uncross your legs and hug your bent knees into your chest. Maybe rocking and rolling a few times. Rock yourself up to sit, and let's prepare for a seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. So root your sitting bones down and separate your feet hips width apart. Choose to either take a strap and place it around the balls of your feet, holding the strap with enough slack to be able to roll your shoulders back and down, a little lift in the chest. Or you might eventually clasp your big toes with your peace fingers, as long as you're not rounding the back or closing out the throat. Flex your feet and press the insteps forward, activating your quadriceps. Press down to your sitting bones and lengthen up through the spine as you breathe in. Exhale, just a little bit of your range hinge forward from your hips. Pause as you inhale, root your pelvis, and stretch your spine. Exhale, fold another little bit. About 5 more breaths. Paschimottanasana. Press down to your hips. Lead from your chest and inhale to slowly rise. Point your toes, circle out your feet. Maybe even roll your legs inward and outward a few times, shaking out any remaining tension along this area. Separate your feet wider than hips width apart. We're going to set up for corpse pose. If you like some lower back support, Either roll up a blanket or grab your 2 blocks and place that underneath the backs of your knees, offering a supported bent knee position. Come to lie down on your back. Walk the shoulder blades down your back ribs, flipping the palms to face up. And then relax your neck. Close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, visualize breathing in slowly and filling up your entire body with the breath and prana. Hold the breath in for a few seconds, staying relaxed. Then open the lips, slowly let it go. Now release control of your breathing and continue to be aware of the breath. Relaxing deeper and deeper into stillness, observing your mind and the breath. Shavasana. continue to rest your body here in stillness. Scan your awareness throughout your physical body for a moment. Notice how your body feels. And begin to rub your thumbs across your fingertips. Gently turn your head, keeping your eyes closed. Sense your feet and add some movement down there. Slowly turn over onto your right side, resting your head. Become more aware of your breath flowing. Sense your energy. Gently lift your body up. Find a way to sit comfortably for 5 minutes in meditation. Rooting down towards what you're sitting on evenly. Lift tall through your spine and relax your body. You might place your hands in a mudra, like stacking the palms face up on the center of your lap with thumb tips touching. This mudra helps to cultivate inner balance. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze ahead. And let your body breathe naturally. Sensing the breath come and go on its own. Sense the one who is witnessing this breath right now. If a thought arises, I invite you to ask yourself, who is observing this thought? Rest deeper and deeper into peaceful awareness. As you keep your eyes closed, if they are, begin to expand your awareness from your deeper layers of self, your outer layers, feeling the breath, feeling this body, and feeling what the body is in contact with. Notice how you feel now mentally and emotionally. Take a moment to offer gratitude to anything that you appreciate. Remember your intention for this practice. And remember to whom or what you dedicated this practice. Let's close with 3 chants of Om. Inhale fully. Bowing in towards the light within. When I'm connected to that peaceful center within me, and you are connected to that in you, we are one. Namaste.